Good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you might be. When you apply for a new job, in many cases you will be asked to perform a test in Microsoft Word to test your knowledge of the program. The idea of this video is to assist you in that test. The videos will be in two parts. In part one we'll cover the items in blue, and in part two we'll cover the items here in red. There will be a link in both of the videos to take you back to either one. So to learn, we will use a file called Word Job Test Document. There are some spelling mistakes throughout here which we'll learn how to use the spell checker in Microsoft Word. As we perform each of the tasks, we will tick them off up here in the menu system here. So the first thing we're going to do to look at is how to select data. Now, data selection is probably the most important part of any computer operation. In fact, I often tell my students that selecting data is the golden rule of all computing. We'll look at how to select a word efficiently, how to select a sentence efficiently, and how to select paragraphs and the reasons why we use these selection techniques. The easiest way to select a word is to double click on the word. When you double click on a word, it selects the word but not the spaces either side, so it's an efficient way to do it. When you have a word selected, you'll notice there is a small ghostly toolbar here which has common and popular formatting commands. So I can use that to take the bold off, the italics off, and the underline off, for example. When I click away, the word becomes deselected. The next item we'll look at is how to select a sentence. Now, many people will drag through a sentence, and the sentence, remember, is delineated by full stops. There's a full stop, there's a full stop. What a lot of people will do is to drag down through that, and they have all sorts of problems to select the sentences because they notice that they have to drag back there. Now, there's an easy way. Hold down the Control key and click in the middle of the sentence, and the sentence is selected between the full stops. Remember, Control, click in the middle of the sentence. To select a paragraph, the quickest way is to triple click. When you triple click in a paragraph, and it can take a little bit of practice, that paragraph will be wholly selected. The beauty about triple clicking in a paragraph, and for that matter using Control click in a sentence, is that if the paragraph or the sentence continues onto the next page, the entire paragraph or sentence will be selected, which stops you from having to scroll and sometimes lose control of the actual selection itself. So just to recap, double click a word to select, hold down Control and click in a sentence, and triple click in a paragraph to select. The next item we'll look at are some common keyboard shortcuts. I'll also put a link at this stage as to where you can go to another video that we have uploaded which will show you many more keyboard shortcuts. But some popular ones as we do them are the Control B, so I'm just going to select a word. Control B will bold the word, Control I italicises, and Control U will underline. We'll undo those three actions by using the undo button up there, or I could have used Control Z to undo. Another one, if you hover your mouse over any command in the ruler, it will actually give you a tip which shows the actual keyboard shortcut. So that's something handy to know. This one here, for example, to center this entire document, I could of course click the center command there, but a lot of people like to use the keyboard, so Control E centers that particular area that I had my mouse cursor in. Another one before we leave, and I'll just undo that last action, is to select the entire document, and to do that Control A for all. And now I know if I hold down Control E, then I center align the entire document, and Control Z takes me out of the last command that I used. The next thing that you would be tested on is how to produce bullet points. It's quite simple, nothing too hard about it. Remember that bullet points work on paragraphs. So if I select that paragraph, triple click, hold down my Shift key and triple click in that paragraph, I've selected everything in between. Then I go into the paragraph group here and I'll click the drop arrow and I'll use the standard dots there, and as I hover my mouse I'm given a preview of the actual bullet point. So hover the mouse, I haven't clicked yet, hover my mouse and I see the bullet points. I'll choose the standard type of bullet point, those, and when I click away there are my bullet points. Remember, Control Z removes the last action, undoes the last action. The next one we'll look at is how to change the default font for new documents. Now, a word on changing default fonts, I will include a link to another video because there are some problems with changing the default fonts now in Microsoft Word, particularly in Word 2013, which is the version that we're using here. It's never been one of Word's strong points, so look for the link and we will certainly cover the issue and point out the pitfalls of changing default fonts in Microsoft Word. Next we'll look at formatting data, and formatting data is one of the things that you'll definitely be asked to do, and it involves the golden rule again of all computing, that is selecting information. It's really quite simple. Once you've selected, you simply need to know where the formatting commands are. And the most popular formatting commands are up here in the Home tab of the ribbon in the font group. So for example, if I triple click in that paragraph to select it, I might change the font by clicking the drop arrow, and so things stand out, I'll choose Algerian for the sake of the exercise. I can also look at the colour of the font, red of course, bold, italics or underline are self-explanatory. One you may well find handy, and I'm going to go back and change the font now to Arial. One you may find handy here is this command here, which is the change case command, because this can solve lots of problems if you happen to leave on your caps lock key. At the moment the font is in what we call sentence case there. If I want it all in uppercase I can do that, or if I want it to capitalize each word I can do that, or I'll put it back to sentence case, which is self-explanatory. Look at is how to insert a table, very important feature in Microsoft Word. So we'll go to our test document and I'm going to go to Control End, which takes me to the very end of the document where I can now insert a table, and I'll see that there are three ways that I can insert tables. One, I can drag through the squares for the columns and rows should I wish, or I can click Insert Table and nominate the number of columns and rows that I want. I can change those numbers if needs be, or I can draw the table with a little pen thus. Drawing a table is perhaps not the most efficient way to do it, although some people do like to use that. To delete the table, incidentally, I need to click on the little selection button there and press the backspace key. The delete key only deletes the contents of a table. So let's include a table, insert table. I'm going to do it this way. I want 5 columns and 4 rows, and there we are. And of course I can type into the table as I wish. Each cell is like a miniature Word page. Many of the commands in Word operate within the table cells. I move through the table cells by using the tab key, and if I was in the bottom right hand cell, the tab key adds a row for me. Again, I'll include a link to using tables in the fullest to indicate that there are many things that we can do with our tables. You'll be asked if you are familiar with the find and replace command, so we'll now look at that one. Let's say I wanted to find the word blurring. Here it is here. So what I'll do, remember I'm using Word 2013, I'll click the find button, which simply finds the word. But if I want to replace the word, then I need to find it by typing blurring and replace it with, we'll say, blur. We'll replace that one, and there it is there, and it has selected it, and I can now say replace. That was the only time the word blurring appeared in the document, and the word has now been changed to blur. I'll undo that last action so we remain the same, because it's a procedure that you need to understand. The last two procedures in part 1 involve the insertion of a picture or graphic, and how can I move that picture around the document. Go to our document, we'll go to the very end, and I'm going to insert a picture. Insert picture, we'll insert that one, there it is there, and now I want to know how I can move that picture, because when I point at the picture shows me the 4-headed arrow, the move command, but I can't drag it around. So what I need to do is to right click on the picture and use wrap text, and if I click one of these commands at this stage there, I can now see, my apologies, wrap text, we'll say square. Now what I can do is to drag the picture around and drop it wherever I wish. So that's how I can insert and move a picture. And of course I can resize the picture with the double-headed arrow. Either way, I generally use the corners because that retains the aspect ratio of the graphic. Remember, I can drag it around because I formatted the picture by right-clicking and wrap the text with square. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching part 1 of the job test in Word. Remember to look for the link to the second part of the video, and subscribe if you wish, and you will be advised of future uploads as they take place. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck. See you next time.